I want to welcome you all back. I'm always wanting to remind myself of how thankful I am for so many of you that post comments and message me on Twitter, to a whole host of people that I get to meet at the EMS weekend. It's really a great pleasure when I get to meet people who've been following me for a long time and listening to these vlogs, and it really touches them, so I'm incredibly grateful. And I don't say this every video blog because it would be a bit monotonous, but I want to say thank you for your continued following. So many great emails, so many great questions. Even the negative really does help me not say stupid things and not offend people and not use improper grammar. And Samantha reminds me all the time, that was dumb, don't say that. So there's a lot that you don't see that the production staff does an incredible job on getting rid of to minimize drama, complaints, and unessential information. So today, I want to start a new series on what I want to call blockages to recovery. I love the word blockage because if you want your recovery or if you want your healing, and I think I'm going to change the words to blockages to healing. If you want to heal, a lot of times there's a blockage within that line, if you will, that's keeping you from arriving where you want to be or keeping your spouse from arriving where they want to be. So today I want to start the series with the first blockage that I see, and it's not going to be rocket science, but I'm hoping that I can appeal to some of you that actually struggle with this blockage, as well as maybe paint a picture to those that are trying to work with a spouse that struggles with this. Or one of the best things that I could suggest that you do is maybe look at yourself and ask yourself, regardless of what side of betrayal that you're on, are you struggling with this? And the first blockage is pride, or a better way to say it, not an elitist form of pride, but a self-sufficient pride. You see, I am convinced that one of the biggest blockages that we face is a self-sufficiency. It's a white knuckling to try and maybe stop looking at porn, or to stop acting out, or to stop the relationship with our affair partners. You know, we are white knuckling it, man. We're using willpower to prevent it from going on. And it's really rooted in a pride, and that the form of pride is more of a self-sufficient, I can do it on my own. And I'm sorry, I want to tell you from a survivor who's been where you're at, you can't. You just can't do it on your own through willpower. I mean, AA has it right. The first step of the 12 steps is admitting that you are powerless over your life, and that your life, your addiction, your struggle, whatever it is, and you don't have to be an alcoholic, but the wonderful thing about the 12 steps is understanding step one is admitting you are powerless. And that's one of the best ways to find freedom, is to say, you know what, I can't do this on my own. I've got to have boundaries. I've got to have mechanisms. I've got to have a recovery protocol that I live with. Even if you're betrayed, there's something liberating. There was something liberating for Samantha when she said, you know what, I just can't do this. I just can't manage this on my own. I need help. And she started to see Rick more often. She was reading more books. She was going to support groups. She took Harboring Hope. There was different things that she was doing to admit her powerlessness, but that didn't mean that you just lay down and curl up in the fetal position. You have to take action while admitting that you don't have in your own power what it takes to get through this. Yesterday I was talking to a gentleman who's actually a really good friend of mine. And I was talking to him, and he had to confess some things he has going on in his life with pornography. And I said, well, okay, you're talking to the right person. I'm happy to help. I'll be whatever you would like. And I was saying, here's some things that you need to do. You need to put some filters on your home internet. We need to take some steps to produce some boundaries. And he was resistant to that. And I said, listen, you've just dropped a nuclear bomb on your wife that you have started looking at porn and that you felt like you were an addict for so many years and you've done great, but now you're looking at it again and it's really causing a problem, but yet you don't want to put a filter on your internet at home. And he said something to me that shook me. And I, as a friend, as a brother, I just said, man, I got to tell you, I need to tell you how incredibly arrogant and prideful that and self-sufficient that came off. He said, I don't want to put those filters on my internet. I don't want to do those sorts of things because I want to be able to say that I said no to pornography and followed through with it. I took a deep breath and I said, but let me be the first and probably the kindest one outside of your wife to tell you you're not doing it. You're not putting filters and you're looking at porn and you're not saying no, and your willpower, your white knuckle, your own self-sufficiency isn't working. You've got to do something different or you're going to continue to circle the drain and wake up in 3-4 months, and I'm sorry, pornography will have been the gateway to probably an actual affair or multiple affairs. You see, breakthrough comes when you say, you know what? I don't have the power in my own strength, without accountability, without boundaries, without expert help, without support, to do this on my own. And I sometimes have to tell people in a very gracious way, look, your life testifies against you. You haven't been able to stop acting out. So when you promise to your spouse, I'm never doing it again, I'm never doing it again, I'm sorry, you were not supposed to do it in the first place. And number two, you have been acting out repeatedly over the last X amount of time, so why do we want to believe you? If you want to get healthy, you've got to be willing to do whatever it takes, and you're going to have to take a giant sword to your own self-sufficiency and cut the head off of it. What you're going to have to do is you're going to have to slowly but surely maybe get involved in a group support program like Harboring Hope or Hope for Healing. You're going to have to be willing to maybe go to an Al-Anon meeting or an AA meeting or a Sexaholics meeting or a sex addiction meeting or something along those lines, because you have to come to the point where you surrender and say, I cannot do this on my own. It is not working. That self-sufficiency is not helping you. It is hurting you. It is keeping you stuck in the cycle that you so desperately, at the core of who you are, want to break free from. You see, finally, I want to tell you, it doesn't have to get worse. And that's a heavy statement, because I've talked to a lot of people over the last 2 weeks who I talked with one time and then it got really, really bad and it got worse. It doesn't have to get worse. Right where you're at, right where you're sitting, it doesn't have to get worse. You can take action right now to humble yourself. And I know that that hurts, and I know that even pisses you off, but you're going to have to humble yourself and get some group support, get some expert help. Not all therapists are bad. Not all therapists are whack jobs and just out to get your money. Not all groups that you go to are going to be full of people that you don't relate to. But I'm sorry, there comes a point where you stop making yourself the exception and you start to say, I'm willing to do whatever it takes with whomever it takes to find freedom.